Hey everyone, Dr. Jess here. Hope you're doing well. I'm here to talk to you a little bit about assignment accommodations, such as extension on assignment for your disabled students in college. So this is in the family of common accommodations, but it's really not that common. It's most typically given when somebody has some major disability related flare-ups of either a mental health or physical health nature, right? These kind of things can include major depressive episodes, PTS flare-ups, um, uh, chemotherapy, uh, you know, uh, immune disorders that come in and out, these kinds of things where a person might just be completely laid out while they have that flare up and then need to come back to their work. So their disability management really determines the pacing of their education more than what might be typical for a typical student, right? And that's one of the beauties of accommodations in university is that it's about the individual and the individual's needs. But, I'm teaching faculty, right? So when I'm, full-time teaching, I am teaching 5 classes a semester. And that's a lot of people and a lot of different things going on. And I know that sometimes we might default to thinking about things in averages or what we see the most often. And really, when it comes to accommodations, the beauty of an accommodation is that it's for that individual and that individual's needs. So we might never have had the pleasure of having an individual with the unique needs that would produce assignment modifications. But now we do, and I want to make sure to be your guide through this process at Cal State San Bernardino and beyond, so that way you know that this is truly a discussion, um, you know, so that way the nature of your course is taken into account and the nature of the individual unique needs of the student are taken into account, right? And as faculty, we might never know that student's diagnosis and we may never fully understand um, the needs related to that diagnosis because it's the student's right not to share it with us. But we have this amazing opportunity to provide equity and access anyways, okay? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna share my screen and talk with you a little bit about the extension on assignments form so that you can see a little bit more on the process, okay? So, so here we are with an extension on assignments extension of assignment request form. Okay. So a student puts in their information, provides their contact, etc., just basic housekeeping stuff. And these are the agreements that they agree to, right? I've got to ask for it before the due date. The earlier, the better. It's made to be a conversation where the extensions I get also take into account the unique nature of the course. Do you scaffold? Great. Do you have things that build on other things? Great. Do you have peer review days? Great. We love, our faculty for all the creative teaching strategies and pedagogies that they apply into their classrooms. And sometimes there are timing things involved, right? And so we want the student to understand that as well. I don't, this is for the student. I don't have an extension until the form is signed and completed by each party. It's my responsibility to complete my work by the agreed upon timeline. And my extensions are only for the assignments listed below. If I have additional requests, I'll need to submit an additional form. Okay, so then we have for the instructor. What are the old due dates and the names of those assignments, right? So if we have something, I'm just going to mock it up for a second, right? If we have something due on 1/10/25 and it's the icebreaker, then maybe it's fine if that student is in dialysis that week, is if they give it to us by the end of the term. Maybe their classmates won't know them as well, but maybe that student then got their disability health related needs taken care of, right? But then let's say on 2/1/25, there's a peer review. Then maybe we need this by to 10:25 so that the peer review can still continue, right? And then let's say that there is a paper at the very end of the term, right? Almost at the very end of the term. Let's say the term ends on 5/5. Okay, paper, like final paper. Okay, then if the term ends on 5/5, the farthest that I can think of that we can go beyond the term is very little, right? Because we have our grade books due, we have to submit to the roster. We get less wiggle room towards the end of the term. Okay. And so what I would recommend for something like that is give as much as you can without bumping into the grading roster. Knowing that at that point, if we're bumping into the deadlines of the grading roster and the term, that's then kind of going into the realm of an incomplete more than it's going into the realm of an extended assignment. Now, different people have different stuff for this. Remember, I told you I teach a lot of classes. For me, sometimes because I have so many students, because of how my course is built also, and I'm not recommending this for everyone, but I can make all my assignments due the last day of the class. Now, should any student do all their assignments on the last day of the class? No. Can any student do all their assignments on the last day of class? No. Do I, make sure to inform SSD and, if I have a private moment with the student, do I make it a point to tell them like, I'm going to extend all your stuff, but I really, really still recommend pacing yourself in a way that works for you? Yes. Okay. I don't have that conversation in front of other people. I don't want to out the student, etc. But this is another option where you can just extend everything to the end of the term, depending on how your class goes. Okay. I'm not saying that's a solution for everyone. If you happen, so then at that point, whatever this looks like for you, then when you sign and the student signs, then those are the due dates for that student, right? Let's say you're like, but I always grade every Friday. Perfect. Then just make it for that next Friday for everything. So you just grade one cycle past, right? I will work with you. I will dream up solutions with you. I will take into account that nobody is asking to dump additional labor on you. I can bring the resources of the institution to support you. And I understand that your class was very thoughtfully built for the student experience. And I promise you that any conversation that we have will take that into account. So with that being said, that is the extension on assignments form and a little bit about how it works. If for any reason you feel that there's more discussion that needs to be had, we're always here to talk with you about it and to learn more about your course and to, help however we can. The best email to reach our office is ssd@csusb.edu. If you ever want to talk to me directly, my email is jessica.nerren, Nerren, @csusb.edu. Thanks so much. I really appreciate you making the time to watch this video and have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one.